why do we exist? Okay, sure. For many of us, it's because our parents simply wanted to feel something. And then, wow, you arrived, and I guess we're adults now, and we're doing this. Instead of going down that dark path, let's talk instead about climate change. I'm kidding. Not really. After 100 years of progress, humanity faces stress tests, unlike any we've faced before, and kind of all at once. Underlying each of these examples of what we got going on are massive fissures in our economy and society. But it's also essential to understanding what we're dealing with, and what we've wrought, the good and the bad. So we've made enormous strides in vaccines, and treatments, and environmental engineering, but we continue to wrestle with a novel virus, one that was exponentially more likely to jump from animals to humans because of where we live and how we eat. We're still dealing with it because we haven't really filled the proverbial societal cracks in the sidewalk that were so exposed. H5N1 will be a pretty urgent test of what we've learned over these past few years. On the other hand, we can take people's cells out of their bodies, spin them around in a tube real fast, then put them back in those same bodies to fight a disease, which is fucking nuts. But many of our pipes are still filled with lead, and one part of our country is nicknamed Cancer Alley. So, we made e-bikes, which are wonderful. We haven't updated our roads to accommodate them, much less prioritize them or walkers or public transportation. And our trucks keep getting bigger and running over more adults and children. We can predict the weather with accuracy that would make our ancestors burn us at the stake. We made solar the cleanest, safest, and cheapest energy of all time, but our power lines can't handle it. We don't have anywhere to really store it yet. We can electrify many of the appliances in our existing homes, but we still need to build about 4 million new affordable electric homes. Our zoning is horseshit. Federal agencies only followed 40% of cybersecurity recommendations, which is the same percentage as my children's finished chores. Legacy IT systems at London hospitals are not ready for global heating. They melted down, or seemingly even like a gentle breeze. In climate change news, Shell's board of directors were sued this week for mismanaging climate risk, which, great. Let's do this. EU leaders are still unsure how to deal with the United States' climate industrialization moves, which we still got to really walk the line to get this right. And Paris is growing new mini forests. In food and water news, bacteria actually really do eat plastic, which is awesome. You can save food from the landfill with WhatsApp, or I guess overthrow a government, either one. And yes, there is lead in most dark chocolate, which is not ideal. So read the article to find out what you should eat. In health and bio news, I guess also applies to dark chocolate, but you should read David Brooks' recent piece on friendship and depression, because a lot of folks are having a hard time, and it is a hell of a thing. Yes, electric cars can clean up the air and quickly in your neighborhood, as we've talked about. Pollution goes away real quick. But please also, we need way fewer cars. And 250,000 U.S. students haven't returned to school since the early pandemic. Workers are fighting America's overdose crisis, but they need much more help, funding, staffing, all the above. Yelp is coming for crisis pregnancy centers, and the GOP is not pleased. And this is kind of exactly what I meant, what we were talking about above. They said, what do we do? We help people find locations and rate them and understand what they are and what they provide. And crisis pregnancy centers do not provide abortion services, despite what the GOP wants you to think, as they track you and then hold you hostage to it. They can do that. That's their business. So good for you, Yelp. In COVID news, President Biden will finally end the COVID emergency declaration soon. My buddy Isaac Saul over at Tangle wrote about what that means. And the FDA's new sort of soft recommendation for annual COVID shots, like the flu, got pretty mixed reviews. So that is it for this week. Hit subscribe to get next week's issue straight to your feed. To go deeper, visit importantnotimportant.com/newsletter. Thanks for being a part of our community, and thanks for giving a shit. Have a great weekend.